Recording in progress.
No, I don't see anybody.
Okay, great. We'll move right on to meeting minutes. We have two sets, one for November 18th and one for December 2nd. The November 18th was just a
That was our special meeting, Jay, right before.
yeah,
town meeting,
and there's
just
only
to
one,
update some
two,
bills.
3, 4, 5, 6. There was only 7 people present, so we gotta see if someone wants to approve those.
I looked at those. I thought they looked good.
Okay, and you're on both, so are you good with both sets done?
I am. The second set of minutes was
Chris, sorry.
really thick. We covered a lot of ground. I think they both
Yeah.
look great. And I just want to say thank you to Frida and Don for all your work. I'm happy to make a motion to approve both sets as submitted.
Okay, and we get a second?
Second.
All right, you're on both, Frank, right? So you're good. All right. Thank you, everyone, and we'll do a roll call. Lisa? Do not see her. All right. So, Brendan? Good. Nope. Okay, Todd,
wasn't there, so I abstain.
you were there for the second set. Are you okay with the second set on the December 2nd?
Yeah, I'm okay with the second set.
All right. And Geetha, you were there for December 2nd also. Are you okay with those?
Yes.
All right. And almost to both. John, you're on for the December 2nd. Are you okay with that set? Nope, John's not on. Okay, Colleen, you're for both. Are you okay with that? All right.
All set.
This was Mark, you were there for both. Is Mark on yet? See Mark either. Okay, Richard, you were on for both. You okay with that?
I'm good. I'm good for both.
Yep. And Don, you were just on for December 2nd.
That's correct. Yes. And I approved that one. Yeah.
Okay, and Emily, it looks like you're on for December 2nd. You got on a little bit later on the 18th. Are you okay with the 2nd?
Yep, I'm good with it.
Okay, we can move on then. Thank you, everyone. That was a little confusing. All right, going on to Lynch, and Andy, you want to give us the update?
Yep. All right, so today's primary focus is on the construction updates, the schedule, and then we will be presenting the furniture. Tonight, we invited the FF&E consultant, Stafora, and Tape will be working with Stafora to present the furniture.
Okay.
All right, so construction update. So what happened in December, we substantially completed the exterior framing sheathing. The AVB, we still have like at the gymnasium roof overhang, still some stuff going on there, very minor on the exterior. And the MEP rough on the second floor is completed and inspected on the second floor. Sheetrock and taping, that's completed on the third floor. They started the primer painting on the third floor. Insulation and sheetrock continue on the second floor. We just started that, so it's ongoing. HVAC, RTU and ductwork, that's completed the end of November. We have all the rooftop unit in place. And the transformer is, being set throughout, and they are tying in the main switchgear. So right now, 3 weeks ago, Break Builder reached out to Eversource, try to get the permanent power going to get the wiring from the street to the pole. We have not heard back from Eversource yet. We're still waiting for Eversource right now. Curb, that's ongoing. They started that about 2 weeks ago on the curbs, and that's still ongoing. Hoping to wrap that up this month. on the south side. So we started the bollards work. That's for the bollard at the in front of the transformer and the generator. The roof drain that's all completed on the roof, and the installation of the elevator is also completed. So right now we're waiting for permanent power in order for the elevator to come back and continue with their work. So we're targeting permanent power on February the 17th, but as I mentioned earlier, we still haven't heard back from Eversource yet.
Andy,
The next,
just go back on that, not to interrupt you, but you're missing some gear, so you won't be done until March, right?
so we heard from Bright last week that they're waiting for 3 panel boards, and those are powering for the rooftop unit. Right now, the date that's supposed to be delivered is March 26th, and they are working to get sooner dates. But as of right now, they said they can ship out the cans, so that way the wiring would not be delayed, but they're pushing to get that sooner. So we're waiting to hear back from them.
And they're saying these 3 boards are only affecting the HVAC system?
Yes, ERU 3, ERU 5, ERU 7, some rooftop unit like the condenser and the water heater and the booster pump. So those
Okay.
those are feeding those. But yeah, Griffin is working with the manufacturer to try to get a better date than March 26th. The next MSBA visit will be on the 16th of January. So what will happen in January? We will start the window testing at the mock-up. That is scheduled for January 21st at 9 a.m. If anybody is interested in witnessing that, that's happening on the 21st at 9 a.m. So right after the window testing, let's hope that everything passed. So they will start installing the window the week of the 21st. Interior framing will be happening and finishing up on the first floor in this month. MEP for the first floor is also, we're targeting to finish that and wrap up for the first floor this month as well. And then we target to finish the second floor sheetrock on the second floor, then head down to the first floor. We started the ceiling grid work on the third floor, and the delivery of casework it's targeting this week for next week installation. Right now we have temporary heating and humidity monitoring inside the building. It's being monitored very carefully in the building. So what's happening in February? We will finish the brickwork. We target to finish all the brickwork, especially the north and the south side, so that way they can finish installing, like start the installation of the window. Right now, also between February and March, we want to finish the window installation and also try to wrap up as much as we can on the curtain wall. Curtain wall will be delivered in the next 2 weeks. Contractor is planning to start that also the week of the 21st. The 20th is Martin Luther King Day, so the day after that they will start. Flooring work will also be installing in February. And as I mentioned earlier, we target to get permanent power February the 17th. Interior finish, we hope to start that between February and March. And then once we have permanent power, they will be balancing and doing the remainder of the elevator work. So right now, the challenge that we have is the brickwork. We have 25 workers from Empire Mason. So, we're pushing to get more, but as of right now, we have 25 workers and a lot of them are labor. So right now, the work, they're wrapping up the north elevation at the area A at the gym at the north elevation is completed. but they still target like the middle of the building, like the north side, to finish next week. And then area C by the end of the month. So the challenge there, is the mason right now. We have all the window on site, but they can't do anything until, the mason is finished. So right now, Bright Builder, they plan to start the window on the 21st, after the 21st, sorry, after the window, the mock-ups is tested. And then the south side elevation, they were planning to complete the A area on the south side at the gym area, near the gym area. They're planning to finish that toward the third week of January, and then complete the B area on the south elevation the first week of February, and complete the C area of the south elevation at the end of February. So as soon as, so the logic is that, once the brick is done, they will go right in, the window guy will come in and do start the window, following from the north to the south. The west elevation, however, is completed, but there's only one elevator. I mean, not elevator, one window at that elevation. And so right now, the focus is, start the window at the north elevation, and then to the south. The west and the east, there's a lot of activity going in and out between, they're using those two areas as the loading area. So once they finish the north, then the south, then they'll head to the west and the east elevation. That's the logic that they're doing with the window. Skylights, we have the material on site, so that's the skylight will start this week. So for the window, here you can see that they're planning to start the north elevation after the 21st, and then it's also curtain wall. They're going to be done. So they're going to start the curtain wall also on the week of the 21st. It's two different crews, two different vendor. We have Greenfield and Lazard. So both of them, one will be doing the window, the other will be doing the curtain wall. And then we also have phenolic panel coming, the February. So they will start the installation of the phenolic in February 10th. And then we have, some exterior work, like the exterior lighting, fire alarm on the exterior, security camera, so all of that's going to be done like in April, like by April 14. That's where they're planning to finish that in the north elevation. And then south elevation will follow. So they will plan to finish for example, like the window in January. So they would follow that right, the first week of February. And then same thing with the curtain wall. So curtain wall will start also in February, and then phenolic panels. So that once they finish the north, they'll head to the south. So that's the logic that they're going to be working. So south elevation is a little bit more. So they're going to try to finish that by the end of April 2025, and then the west elevation and then the east elevation. That's the logic that they're planning to work with. They're going to try to finish the east last, because right now is heavily used as loading area on the east elevation. And then from the inside, they're working from, the logic is working from the third floor to the second floor and to the first floor out the door. So we did confirm with Bright if this logic has any impact, and they said no. So the biggest thing is finish with the mason, and then to the work with the window and the curtain wall.
Andy, before you move on a slide, I think Chris has his hand up before you move on. Chris, you
Yeah.
want to jump in?
Sorry, thanks, Jay. Andy, I know this was a question we threw at you and Tape a little earlier today. If you can stay on that slide you were just on. I'd like to know, does Chris Sharkey yet have any a response for us on the spec on masonry cleaners on this project? I'm asking because if we're going with an acidic masonry cleaner like a Vanatrol, I did go back and check. They're actually not recommended adjacent to low E glass. They can damage the glass. So depending upon what the product is, you would typically want to let the mortar completely set. There's a period of time that may vary by manufacturer or by cleaner, I should say. And then, you clean the brick, you rinse the brick, then you wait a little bit, and then you can move on to the next piece. So just looking at the detail that you've got on the right side of the slide, I presume we will be cleaning the brick, and depending upon what we're using, that might push into that schedule a little bit. Did Chris have a chance to verify what our spec is for the masonry cleaner, and if we're going with an acidic cleaner?
I have not been able to look at it this afternoon. Apologies on that.
Okay, so I just wanted to flag that, because if we are like a Vanatrol or something similar, but we should not be the glass should be nowhere near it when we're using it. So it's just another, and there's just a lot of brick on the building, so that's something to be looking at.
Yep.
Okay.
So as you can see here, Chris, like for example, Area B will be done like mid January, and then they're gonna try to clean that before so the window will be right behind them, and they will work to clean that first before they do any window. So like if they're gonna start from A to B, but they're gonna be making sure that everything is clean before they do any window installation.
Yeah, so Andy, I mean, just that's a good point to look at right there. So if Area B is complete on the 15th, and if the glaziers are looking to get going literally 6 days later with glass, the question is the mortar sufficiently dried in time to actually apply the masonry cleaner, and has there been sufficient time then for the masonry to be cleaned, to be rinsed, and then for that facade to be ready for the glass? I'm just raising it because it's looking tight. Again, it depends upon what kind of product we're using. I just want to be sure we're not building the full exterior wall and then coming back later with an acidic cleaner that's going to damage other elements of the wall.
That's a good
Maybe a
point.
moot point. I don't have the masonry cleaner spec in front of me, so that's just something Tab A will need to follow up on.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll talk with Brait and he'll get that all squared away.
So interior work. Next we will have casework coming. As I mentioned, it will be coming the week, of the 13th. They'll be delivering next week for the 3rd floor, and then following the 2nd floor, and then the 1st floor. So by the end of by mid-April, we should have all the casework in place. And then flooring will follow the casework. So as you can see, the logic here, they're going to be doing mid-January, and then at the end of February, they're going to be doing flooring from the 3rd floor to the 2nd and to the 1st floor. So by the end of April, we should have most of the flooring work done. And then the building enclosed will be, they're targeting to get every window and curtain wall done by April 1st. By that time, we'll get like all the window caulking, everything is in place. Kitchen, we're targeting to finish that by April 10th of 2025. That's including all the kitchen equipment, everything. This is more like Bright Builder, not kitchen stuff, not the furniture. Final cleaning of all floor, they will be targeting to do that at the end of April, and the initial final cleaning will be done by the 1st week of May. They will come back in June and do another cleaning, the final cleaning before the furniture come in July and the turnover to the owner. So what's happening between, as you can see, like between like end of April and May, that's really when they're going to be done with the building, but there's going to be a lot of like testing and starting up. That's going to happen between May and June. So right now, we have that MVP startup, but we're pushing to get those 3 panel boards, but right now we're targeting to start up the MEP the second week of March. If hopefully we can get those panel in place, so that way we don't delay this date here. Mechanical testing and balancing, hopefully, everything will be up and running by the end of March, so that way we can start the testing and balancing, because the commissioning is right after that. Excuse me. Testing the fire alarm. We're targeting to finish the fire alarm and have that, start the testing the first week of April. We will have the owners training with facility, how to get the system working. So that's happening April, toward the end of April, and that's going to happen throughout, between April and the end of June during substantial completion, making sure all the system are being trained to the owner, the user. Landscaping, so that's going to happen in the spring. They're targeting to start and finish that in the month of April. Paving, this is the final paving. We did have the first course already paved, and then this is the final paving and striping. So that's going to happen in April. The playing field turf, that's also happening in April, and the playground surface, they're going to try to do that last. So that's going to happen in May.
Andy, go back to that before you get off. I mean, if we don't see those panels until the 26th at least, and then they have to install them, the whole top 5 items are gone. They all get bounced down the road.
So right now, like I mentioned earlier, they're gonna still install like the wiring and everything, because those the manufacturer is shipping out the cans for those. So that's still happening. Once they have the panel, they probably come in on the weekend, working weekend, and maybe probably second shift as well, try to make the schedule. But I don't see, like those 3 panels is probably going to be done in like a week. If they work on the weekend, I don't, it's not going to be a big impact. But
It's a lot to do to finalize all that mechanical, start it up, and then start testing. But it's here.
Yeah.
I think they're putting a lot on that showing up. Okay.
Yeah, like I did check with them last week and today. They're pushing to get a better date than the 26th. I think there are a few mechanical unit that they can start up sooner. I mean, like that's not depending on those panels.
I don't know. Todd can jump in on this system better than I can, but I don't think you can do anything until the whole system is talking to each other. On the controls, they're all powered up. I've had enough experience with them, but all right, we can move on.
Yeah, but we'll track them. We will like, every other day I'll keep bugging them on that. They're going to try to expedite the shipping. So what's going to happen between May and June? They're targeting to get final inspection. That's probably going to happen for 2 weeks between May. Actually, I'm sorry, a month between May and June. So it's going to be, MEP inspection, building inspection. The building flush out on their schedule, they were showing from May 15 to like mid-July. I did talk to Brait that, we want to get that building flush out a little bit longer. So that way, when we get the new furniture during like in July, so that way the flush out is happening. So that way we can get the odor from the new furniture out. They have no problem doing it until the 15 or longer. So that's happening from mid-May to mid-August. Punch list, they're probably gonna be doing that toward the end of May. Depend on how fast the architects can do the punch list, but that's happening between the end of May to the 26th. That's what they're targeting for. And then accepted final cleaning, as I mentioned earlier, that's gonna happen the very end, right before substantial completion. So between end of May to by the 20th of June, they will finish that final cleaning before they turn it over for furniture delivery. And then we have furniture delivery starting from the end of June 27, to all the way to the end of July. We'll be talking about furniture shortly. And then we have the teachers move in and unpacking the first week of August. I finished the drafting the RFP for the move. We'll review that tomorrow, and then we'll send it over to Andrew. Our target is to get that out on the street probably the end of this month, and then we'll have like a site walk of the Parkhurst, the modular, so the mover can see what they're dealing with to move into the new building. Probably the February vacation for the walkthrough, and then have quote back from the mover toward in March. So we should have pricing in March.
All right, we have a question from Emily from Colleen, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Before you
no
move
problem.
on.
So I just had a question on the flush out. So if we're talking about the lead parameters, Andy, was the team anticipating a full flush out or the partial?
I think they're planning to do the full flush out.
Okay. Well, so the
And
full flush out
probably-
is the full 14,000 cubic feet of air per square foot before occupancy. And the staged one is 3,500, because you can't start that until after major punch listing is completed and all the furniture is installed. So the start date, I mean, it's okay to do it ahead of time, but you can't count it for lead purposes until the furniture is installed. And then it's just, you have to maintain temperature and humidity. And sometimes during this time of year, it can be a little challenging for that. So if the units, like, for instance, are pulling in more outdoor air during that time, we just want to make sure the system doesn't introduce humidity and mold issues.
Yeah, usually that for lead, I think that more toward at the end, especially with that they also have to do like the blow door test as well, making sure all the gasket, everything is in place. So usually that's more toward, like, they usually like to wait till the very end to do all of that. But this is and they also have to change out all the filter and everything.
Right.
Yeah, they're aware of that.
Because so it would be great just from the sustainability side to get the flush out calculations from them, so I can see which option they're doing, because if like the worst case scenario, you can still do the partial flush out, that 3,500, and then flush to the 14,000 during occupancy. But we just want to make sure, because again, just the whole idea of this is that you're not doing major dust generating activities and then incorporating that back into the system. It gets stuck in the ducts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we have another meeting coming up on, is it the 16th or something?
I think, yeah.
We can talk about that. Yeah, with Bright at that meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Chris, you have a question?
I do. And Andy, I apologize if this is on a previous slide. It may or may not be. When are we planning to having the mechanical systems commissioned?
Right here, mid-April.
Or 15? Okay. I just want to, trying to apply lessons learned from Winchester High School. We had quite a number of ADA violations at the high school because our pull force and even push force on doors exceeds the ADA and MAAB threshold, and it actually had to do with air pressure in the adjacent spaces. So this has been something Chris Conway has really been spending an incredible amount of time on. So I just want to underscore this. I think as part of the punch list, we should be evaluating the pull and push force on doors. I know you said that's tentatively starting May 22nd. So that should be comfortably after we've commissioned building systems. If need be, we may have to evaluate undercuts on doors if there's nothing that can be done mechanically. But we may have to be creative, whether it's in tweaking some of the mechanical systems or looking at undercuts. Because we can't exceed the push and pull force of those doors. We'll get cited for that, and that's an expensive thing to fix. So I want to make you aware of that.
Thank you.
Colleen, do you still have a question?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Andy, you can move on.
All right, a couple photos. Just want to share the progress. I mentioned the curbing. This is a picture of the curbing that was done last week at the south parking lot. They also have light pole base that they are already installed. And here's more curbings. Masonry work. They did have the lower portion done at the north side. So this is the progress. I'm sorry, this is this looking at from the south to the north elevation. And then this is the north elevation of the brickwork that's happening. As I mentioned, we try to finish this, by the 15th by next week. This is the last section of the north side. And then, we'll look into the cleaning requirement, but after the cleaning, then they will be working on popping in the windows. Usually those window, they're quick. So the north side, I think they will take about 10 days, and then about 2 weeks for the south side for the windows. We have the boiler set in place, just need to tie in. And then this is a picture of like the bathroom. They do have to do rock in, they're getting ready for tile, and also hot ceiling in place. As you can see, a lot of the mechanical are insulated up above the ceiling. Sheetrock, this is the third floor. We're done on the third floor. Just they have the painter start the priming work, the prime painting on the third floor. The switchgear. So as I mentioned, they already started the secondary, waiting to hear back from Eversource to help us get the permanent power from the pole. Setting panel boxes, progress here with tying into the transformer for the building. The elevator, as I mentioned, the elevator is in place. So we're just waiting for permanent power, so them to continue on with their work with the balancing of the elevator. Here's more picture of drywall, and then they're doing work with control for the control work, the wiring. And I have the dashboard. Oops. So here on the dashboard, we have a few delivery dates. So we have rooftop unit that's already in place, installed at around Thanksgiving timeline. Electrical switchgear that's delivered. They're tying the switchgear right now. Window and curtain wall, as I mentioned, they will be coming. We have 100% of the window on site already, stored on site, and the curtain wall is coming in 2 weeks. So targeting to install that the 3rd week of January. Casework, millwork, that's it's being delivered. I was being told that they're being delivered this week. Generator and the ATS that's being shipped out for the end of February. Phenolic panel, I mentioned that earlier, will be coming February. Lighting, that's I think they were supposed to be here anytime now in January. Pedestrian bridge, we're still targeting to get the material in the spring for the summer installation, so that's still in the radar. As I mentioned, right now the critical focus is the permanent power. They want to get that on for February 17th. Budget-wise, right now, construction contingency, we still have 5.9 million. That's as of up to change order number 6. Owner's contingency, we have 291,000 remaining. We're right on with the cash flow. And then tonight we have change order 7 for a total of $44,858.78. we have 7 PCO for that. The first PCO is PCO 23R2. This is the hollow metal and frame changes. And this is to compile the cost for the change. And, they make a few changes on the door from the metal to the wood to achieve more STC is for more sound barrier rating. And, this is to get the hardware change and to remake a double frame and transom to the this also provide the correct door height and the cost to expedite the door in order to make the schedule so without any delay on the door because of the change. So this is for additional $14,820.50. Next, we have PCO 29R1. This is for the door holder credit. So this is the credit for labor and material for the electronic wall mounting door holder. This is shown on the contract document, but not required. So, they deleted this to get a credit. Next is the elevator wall for $3,456.06. This is the framing depth of the elevator wall was increased to accommodate the back boxes for various equipment. However, the door frame for the elevator has already been fabricated at the time of the change. So Tape created a recessed detail around the elevator door on the third level in order to maintain a thinner wall depth at the frame. So this change is for material and the labor to add tile to infill the recess area. Next, I also have the plumbing revision. So they found this during the FF&E coordination. So this is for cost for adding integral eye wash station at the nurse office. This is the faucet changing the sink in the steam area to be epoxy to match the counter. This was a change during the furniture coordination and to adjust the location of the janitor mop sink, that's shown on the contract document. They made some change there. Next, I have PCO 58. This is for additional marker board. So they added some marker board during during the FF&E coordination. They realized they needed a handful of marker board throughout the location of the building to make better uses of the space. So they added some marker boards, and this is for $5,378.56. The last two, PCO 60 is for the added wall art room. This is, as the plumber began his work in the art room area, he discovered that the as-built condition created some conflict between the steel and the piping for the sink along the west wall. So they made some change. The west wall was furrowed out by 3 5/8 inches to allow the pipe to run through the embedded area. This change is for $4,219.28. Next, I have PCO 63 for additional shelving. This is changed to the millwork, and this is part of another during the FF&E process. The provision of the student mailbox slot were discussed. This PCO is to add additional shelving to each of the first floor cubby to match the design for the cubbies on the upper floor, providing a similar mail slot for the location that did not include on the original contract document. So this is for $5,027.15. I know Mark, Scott, you have
I want to get Mark and then I have a question. So go ahead, Mark.
Two questions. One for PCO 23R2. How many doors were affected by that PCO?
Let me take a look. So I have hollow metal door 7 and also exit device. changes to the door BT 111. I have about 4 doors together, A001, B112 hollow metal door, so about 4 total.
So it's a mix of changes, the one major one swapping out the door frame and all the hardware, and then the other is just lumped together with a number of others. Okay, just seemed like a lot for one door.
Yeah, we also, on part of that, we also get like a credit for, for exit devices, but they charge us a 45% restocking fee, and they only give us $2,000 credit as part of this 14,000.
Right. Okay. And then PCO 60. If the as-built condition were the as-designed condition, would there have been a change? I ask because I'm wondering if that should be a contingency item and not a change order.
So you mean like breaks who should own this? I mean, like, because this is not a CMI risk. This is design bid build. So if if something is not shown on the drawing, then the owner is coming.
Oh, I thought my understanding was the way you described it was that there was an as-built condition that was not consistent with the documents, and that required an adjustment. And to me, that would be a contingency item, not a change order. Because this is only because there was a conflict that shouldn't have existed, right?
I think the word as-built is throwing us off because it's really not, it's not an existing building that they did an as-built. It's a,
Well,
coordination, right?
My understanding is the plumber said, I can't run my line, there's steel in the way.
Yeah. So it's a coordination issue that didn't take place. Either no coordination was done or was designed that way. But I mean, I know you have a question, Chris, but just on the way I track all these, I'm only seeing that the additional shelves, even though I don't know if we need them or not, and the additional marker boards are the only things that are really owner requested. And the remainder of these items are design issues, Andy? Not brought up by someone? Might have lost them. I'm gonna track them that way anyways. I think there's only 2 items that are really owner requested.
Did we
Yeah.
just lose Andy?
I think we lost them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We were just getting started.
Okay.
So Jay, can I jump in real quick? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
So this, I actually was going to go to number 63. So the additional shelf, as I understand it, there's been a request for an additional shelf in the millwork for the preschool students to match the design for the older kids. That accommodates what I think they're colloquially calling like a mailbox for them. My understanding and past experience with the Lynch preschool is these kids are so young that if there's any important paperwork or anything that has to go home, it's actually teachers and staff take that paperwork, actually put it into the kids' backpacks, and they set them free. These kids are not typically reaching into their mailbox and putting it into the backpack. They're a little young for that. Also, I haven't seen the actual elevation where the shelf is, but these kids are a little vertically challenged. So I was going to ask the superintendent, is this something we need to do? It's $5,000. I'm just questioning if this needs to be the same design down low that we have for the older kids.
Are you bringing me in now because I'm also vertically challenged? Is that what's going on here?
Man, I wasn't going to go there, Frank.
I mean, I would have the same questions you have, Chris. I would want to check with Sarah Casey. Was this a request from preschool staff?
I believe it was brought up during the FF&E process, that it was different. In that, I think they would want somewhere to put some papers and things like that. But if you guys don't believe that they need it, then we don't have to do it.
Maybe if you can give me a little more detail, Chris, I can check in with Sarah to see if it's what
Yeah.
she's thinking. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
My only reluctance, Chris Sharkey, is that even it's $5,000. So I mean, if we're really going to use it, how is it going to be used? Different kids in a different program down there than other classrooms in the building.
Understood.
So
That's fine.
I just have
Understood.
I have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right. You want to move on to the FF&E while we're waiting for
Hey,
Andy
I'm
to?
back. I'm sorry. I
Andy's
kept
back.
Okay.
Sorry. So where were we with Mark's question about the plumbing?
So we were just reviewing kind of what the issue was that was driving that, Andy.
Yep.
And then we talked a little bit about number 63. I think we're going to hold off on that on the shelves on the preschools until Frank can get a little more information about where that's coming from.
Well, Geetha has a question too before we move on. Go ahead, Geetha.
Yeah, and he's done with the press. And just had a quick question. When the brickwork is happening in the winter season, are there different measures taken, as a winter weather precaution? I mean, is it being just curious? I know Chris was talking about the acid cleaning and whatnot, but if the brickwork is happening in the winter times, during the installation for the grout curing, is it being heated?
Yes, they do have heating there. As you could see, like in one of my picture earlier, they
I
have
didn't
like
s-
the
Okay,
scaffold. Yes, they have heating.
okay. But
But
as far
they-
as Jay's question, the contingency, Jay, we were not tracking it that way right from the beginning, correct? We were just lumping in one, right?
No, I mean, I always do my own to see how much of this is architectural and, mechanical change versus owner changed. So I'm just for my own purpose, I wanted to know what columns to put that in. Nothing official, but just at the end of the day, I want to see,
Okay,
how much the school actually caused changes and how much are brought on by architectural contractor. So I just want to know which column to put it in on my
Okay.
own. That's all.
is this the time Andy's talking about the look ahead schedule, or is just at a different time of the agenda? I guess my curious question was if the look ahead schedule, um, how does it compare with what's being planned? For example, it's being several times mentioned, okay, the power from the Eversource was planned as February 16. If that were planned from the beginning, just because it was mentioned several times, where did it go wrong? Or, just to give a sense of that we can stay calm or whatever. I don't know. Just
Well, I think
Yeah, that's-
this is the first we're hearing of those panels, about a week ago, I think is the first time we heard about those panels coming up.
how about the supply from the Eversource, the permanent supply that is intended for 16? So my question is, was that the date planned right from the start? And, what do we do so that, we can get it on the 16th or just to, like, I understand the Eversource, we have to get in the line queue so that we meet their schedule so they can supply. But now it's 6th, then it's a concern that we may not get it on the 16th.
Gonna look into that. There's so much that they could be doing. They have to bring new lines down the street and everything. There's no reason for them not to be there working. So we have to do a little bit of research on that.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
Right? You want to move on, Andy?
Yep. Let me just go back to my slide.
That's where I would rather be.
Yeah.
Slide. There you go. All right, next I have the furniture update. So for furniture budget, we carry during, schematic design when we set up the budget, when we go to town meeting, Our budget for furniture is $1.4 million. I'm not going to go into the detail of the quote, but the consultant will be doing a presentation and then they will go into the detail of that. But where we are right now, I think we're about, with the quotes from different vendors, we're about 1,562,000. So the overage is about 162,540. That's the overage. Next, I'll turn it over to the consultant so they can do the furniture presentation, and then they can dive into the, into each category from the vendor on the quotes that we receive.
Thanks,
Go
Andy.
ahead, Chris. Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it. Just want to invite Leanne, Emily, and Wendy. Leanne and Emily are from Staffiora. Wendy is from the Taipei office. She's our director of interiors. So they're here just to talk FF&E with you guys. So I'll turn it over to them, but they've been really driving the charge on this one.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So what we have tonight to share with you is a presentation of all the furniture selections for various spaces, along with the finishes that have been selected that we can go through with you. We can also review the overall furniture plans if that's something that we feel like we need to go through. And then, as Chris said, we will go through the current pricing summary so you can see where we are in a little bit more detail. So, Emily, if you want to start with the presentation. Okay. So by space, so these first few slides are the pre-K classroom. Should we go through the overall furniture plans first? I'm not sure how familiar, or we can dive into this.
I think everybody kind of knows where the rooms are within the building, if that's what you
Okay.
mean.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. Okay, so the first slide is the pre-K classrooms. They are comprised of rectangular activity tables, smaller breakout activity tables, 2 or 3 area rug groupings, and various types of seating that was all reviewed and selected with the preschool director. Excuse me, the tables are not on casters, just so you know, that's the images that we get. In addition to all of that, along the bottom is the is the furniture that's provided for the teachers. So the one on the left is the teacher task chair. The KI Limelight is the teacher chair that sits at each activity table, so teachers can pull up to student groups. There is a mobile teacher desk that has built-in lockable storage and a separate mobile adjustable height teacher lectern. The different types of student seating are the KI Intellect Wave Chair, 4-leg chair. We have some alternative seating in bean bags. There are these cube chairs that you see laid out on the main area rug setting. And these individual wood chairs that have arms on them to contain a student. Some lightweight felt dividers to help break out space and create centers. So, and then on the next slide, it identifies the color palette. So the student tables and chairs have a maple laminate top, which is in keeping with the architectural wood. And then each rectangular grouping has a color, which helps the students identify where they need to be, which was a request from the preschool director. The finishes in the middle are the teacher furniture. So it's light gray, it has some navy blue accents, but in silver frame materials. And then some pops of color with beanbag chairs and various area rugs. So the kindergarten classrooms, similar, a little few less components in them, but similar rectangular activity tables and chair. There's a half moon table, group table. There are every classroom will have one of these mobile browsing type book organizers. On the area rug, there is a teacher rocking chair, reading type chair, and the same teacher workstation setup. So the request was also for the area rugs to have the individual spots so students can identify where they need to sit. And again, similar palette. However, the student chairs in these rooms will be all the same color. So that's the blue plastic with the silver frame, and the student tables are the maple finish. That's kindergarten. Moving into the grade level classrooms, 1st through 5th grade, the furniture components are all very similar. In these classrooms, the student chair with the cantilevered frame was selected. The student desk, individual student desks with a desk storage book bin for every classroom, all grades. Each classroom has, I think, 1 or 2, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, adjustable height standing desk with a fidget bar on it. And that has a whiteboard surface, which was a request. There is a beanbag, same type of bookcase, oval bookcase. And then the seating that is around the half moon activity tables are the wobble stools. So these components are pretty consistent, and the fixed stool as well. These components are pretty consistent throughout all of the upper grade levels. Excuse me. So finishes, again, very similar. Student chairs are a lighter blue color, which you see along the top. Again, a blue color. This is more of a softened blue with a silver frame, maple on the student tables, desks. Activity tables with a whiteboard surface. The wobble chairs are the blue, and the teachers' finishes are consistent throughout the building. Beanbag chairs help to add some pops of color in the green and the blue. And area rugs are the individual spots. We lose.
The area rugs, yeah, for the younger grade, it's the designated spots, and then I believe grades 3 through 5 have a solid
Correct.
color area rug. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. So on the upper levels, there are these breakout spaces that occur in each of the classroom clusters. So it's another space for students to come out of classrooms. Here they're being furnished with the clover table, so this organic shape table with a standard student chair and a wobble stool. So you can see in the plan there's a combination of different types of seating that occurs in these spaces. There will be a mobile marker board included for instruction, and also a few of these soft rockable type ottomans. So those are a upholstered vinyl piece. Here you can see the finishes. So the upholstered wobble ottomans are in that fun vinyl pattern color. The wobble stools are the light blue. And the student chairs and tables are consistent with the classrooms for flexibility. Here in the media center, we have mobile, these are mobile, right? Stacks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That you see laid out, book stacks that are all 3 shelves high so that it's easy to see over them. We have a series of student tables central so that a whole class can meet and sit and have instruction within the library space, media center. There's a circ desk up front near the entry door. And then and some amount of soft seating. So we have a combination of the high back Keelhauer Ponder chair and some lower back lounge chairs. And then a variety of ottomans and soft lily pad type seating that happens over in the reading nook that's over in the lower left of the plan. And here are the finishes, again, keeping with the light maple for the library stacks. Book cart is an opportunity for a little bit of a pop of color. Tables, again, are consistent with the classrooms with the maple and the silver. And here we had the study chair. Again, an opportunity to add a little color in here. So we made that green. And the 2 fabrics you can see for the low back lounge chair, it's an upholstered chair. So it's a fully upholstered chair with a silver frame. And then the high back chair has that fun geometric pattern. And there's only actually one of those over in the reading area.
Okay.
Art and STEAM consist of the heavy duty tables on lockable casters. These are at seated height with the standard student chair or a perch stool. The teacher, in addition to having the typical teacher desk and chair, also has a demo table. Actually, that's where and depending on which class it is, a variety of mobile storage units with individual bins that can be pulled out, drying racks, utility storage shelving for the closets, and a mobile marker board. So in here, the student tables have the epoxy tabletop surface, which is a request. And to add some color into these spaces, we're doing the bright blue metal on the legs of those tables. And then the stool and the student chairs are consistent with general classrooms, as is all the teacher storage and furniture. For the cafeteria, the layout is a combination of round and elliptical tables. They are all attached to button seats, which was a request from the school. And in addition to those, we have a series of plastic stack chairs. That's that Herman Miller Pronto. There's an amount of these within the seating to meet our ADA requirement. And then the other furniture you see up top is for the kitchen office, so the task chair and storage. So finishes within the cafeteria, the tables have the base is chrome, the button seats are the bright blue, the table surface is a variegated patterned laminate, which is kind of a light gray with light tone finish with a gray edge to it. Stack chair is the gray with the silver frame. And then lastly, the administration offices. We have either L-shaped desks or just single pedestal desks in the offices. All have lockable storage depending on need. There's additional bookcases or file cabinets. The 9-to-5 Neo was the selected task chair for all the administration offices, and the Herman Miller Venus was the selected guest chair in all the offices. A few hockey stools, excuse me, are used in offices that where children come in and will meet guidance spaces like that. In the conference table you see below, the large conference room will have a separate storage credenza, and some of the offices have a separate small meeting table. And the finishes for the offices, again, keeping the warm maple tone for all of the desk surfaces with light gray storage. Task chair has a mesh back with the blue vinyl upholstered seat and a black frame. And the guest chairs, again, have a mesh back with a blue upholstery for the seat that you see there in the middle. And the wobble stools will be the same blue that's used upstairs. I believe that's the overview. So if there's any questions, that's everything.
All right, Lisa, you're first up.
Okay, it looks good. However, I'm kind of concerned about that wavy chair, whatever that, I don't know exact name of that chair was. It doesn't, yeah, the what's it, intellectual?
Intellect wave, yeah.
Yeah, it's granted it's cool looking, but I'm concerned about the safety of it as well as I don't think it's very. I don't think it's very practical, but I also think what if a student had, say, some type of spinal thing. I just don't think it's very safe. I know it's cool looking, but I don't think it's very ergonomically correct for I don't know. That's the only one I'm really concerned about.
Well, I mean, this is a student chair that's used very often in a lot of public education, and they did have an opportunity to sit in it and compare it to the four-legged chairs, which we are using it in the pre-K and K grades. It is very just pre-K. Sorry, yeah, it is stable, and I think what they like about it is that it has a little bit more flex and movement to it because of the cantilever. So if kids are fidgety, there's a little play in it.
It's really minimal. It's really minimal movement.
It's very
but
minimal.
it's just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
what's the chances of it flipping? It looks like a good flip. I mean, I've
It's a
never
lot
sat
more
in one,
sturdy
so I
than
don't
it
know.
looks. I will say
It's,
that.
it is a lot more sturdy than
Yeah.
it looks, and we've used it often. There's a lot of schools that select this
Mhm.
style,
Okay.
but I don't know if
I will also say an advantage of a cantilever chair like this, which we are, as Leanne just said, putting more frequently into schools. I honestly can't think of one of our recent projects where we didn't have a cantilever student chair, but one of the advantages is that you can lift it up, custodians can lift it up easily and just put it on the table without having to flip it over, without having to put the whole chair on the table or the desk. So that's one other advantage of it.
Right.
I can understand that. I guess it's
it
just more or
slides
less.
right in.
I just didn't, doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like it would be, I don't know, it doesn't look that safe or, universally. If
They
somebody
do
has some
look
type
really
of-
alarming in photo. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough in a photo sometimes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think of a young child that possibly could have scoliosis at that age. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that certainly
Right.
would be the chair that I would recommend. I don't know. I'm just thinking out of the box. So, okay. But the rest of it looks okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I really don't know a lot about scoliosis, but it is the exact same seat frame as the 4-leg version.
Okay.
Just the legs are different. I don't know if
Right.
that
Okay.
helps. I don't know what the needs for something like scoliosis would be.
Yeah, I think it's more the back and the support and just the chair being more straight like that. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, the seat actually is the same. It's just the frame.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, it's nice though. That was my only concern with it.
Oh, thank you.
That's a good concern. Yeah, thank you.
Chris,
Yeah, I had several questions. Are the stools in the STEM lab stackable?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Rondo.
right there.
Yeah. Oop, is it Rondo?
Yes, they are stackable. Mhm.
Okay. And in the cafeteria, I think we're seeing tonight the two different table types. This actually
Oh,
looks
I'm
different.
sorry.
This looks different than what we saw in Dropbox just 2 weeks ago, Jay. So
Mhm.
could somebody maybe just speak to, I think we're in the right ballpark. If I counted them, we have seats for 192 students, which seems about right, given how we break
Correct.
up, the lunch day. But can somebody just kind of speak to this approach about having two different table types in the space?
We had updated the layout to accommodate a higher seat count, and with the need for more seats, we couldn't manage it with the round tables, so we opted for some of the ellipse tables too, which are it's a lot easier to get more seats in with that shape. So we tried to go for a good mix so the students had options. That makes sense.
I actually like it better this way. I think it
Okay.
gives kids and staff more options. Although
Mhm.
this tends to be maybe a bigger issue at middle school where kids start having a choice about where they sit and who they sit with. But
Right.
student choice is not insignificant as kids get more and more agency in our school buildings. But I like this approach. I wondered if Leanne, can you go to one of your earlier plans where you showed the student desk? I think it's your D90, if I have that right. You had an image of it. Can you just
Yes.
confirm for us that
Yes.
it's that we're using the same desk, maybe with the exception of preschool? The distinction between an A and a B and a C is just how the vendor is actually setting the height of the legs. So if we need
that's correct.
we have changes in enrollment, we can shorten or lengthen these legs, move those tables up and down the building, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't move them like class to class, but someone could flip them over and adjust them. So,
Right.
Right.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
any other questions? Anyone? Yes, not.
I just,
Um,
sorry, I just had
That's okay.
the process of this presentation and what's next, or just question. I mean, anyway, just as a curiosity, like,
What's next in the process? Or-
yeah, assuming you guys, the team has been vetting this out, that it has.
Well, this has been progressing with the holidays. This has kind of lagged down a little bit. It's gone back and forth. some changes were made. Chris went through and counted everything, which was a great help. And I think we're gonna give it, this will come up a little bit later, but we want to give it the week to digest and try to have a vote on the 13th just to address the FF&E package. I don't think it's fair to ask everyone to vote on it tonight without really getting to look at this. So that's the idea I was gonna push out there later on. But right now, I think we want to get any questions to the team that we might have.
Can we ask Jay if Chris Sharkey can just take a moment to comment? Are any other open items there? I mean, there's some items I think that are not fully spec'd yet. We maybe are carrying some allowances, like outdoor classroom comes to mind. Just so the committee understands where we have areas that aren't fully spec'd out yet, or if there are any programming meetings yet to be had with the district. What's our approach there?
Leanne, would you like me to jump to the pricing?
Yeah, why don't we,
Tally?
do you want to
Okay.
share this? Should we share it, Chris?
Yeah,
Sharkey?
that would be great.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
I'll
so you can
after
see
this,
where-
I'll follow up with some of those open items. if
Right,
that's
thank you.
Okay, yeah, can you zoom in
And
a
then
little
we can
bit more,
kind of talk
Emily?
next
Okay.
steps.
Yeah.
Tell me
So
when you're
just-
ready for scrolling.
Okay, thanks. So just so everyone
Wait, can I
understands, you know,
pause
oh,
real
you want
quick?
to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, there was a hand. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Emily has a
Oh,
question.
Emily.
I just
So why don't we
don't
let her
want to
get
go too
in?
far.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Emily, you want to ask a question?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry if this is mentioned. What's the lead time
Nope.
for all this furniture? Do we have
Well,
like need to set a deadline to be like, let's release this
Mm.
by this date to make sure we don't get ourselves in
Yes,
trouble?
we do. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. Yes, good point.
Mhm.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
So,
we'll circle back to
for
that
sure.
after this, if that's
Okay,
good by
I just
you.
wanted to make sure
Is-
that the 13th wasn't going to be bad or like, yeah, if we could just establish a date to make that decision by, that'd be great.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks, Emily. I appreciate
all right,
that.
thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, so so the process and where we are right now to date is, you know, we've had our series of meetings, we had all our selections, we specified everything based on those meetings, and we solicited quotes from various purchasing contracts, which we had talked to the town about ahead of time. And this is what you see is a result of all of that. So this pricing summary is separated into two different sections, the first being the furniture and the second being the equipment. So in this first section, and how we solicited pricing for is a combination of the CPP, which is the MSBA Collaborative Purchasing Program. It's the MHEC, which is the Mass Higher Ed Consortium, state contract, Massachusetts state contract, which are those SC categories, and then some specific items that may not be on a contract. We just solicited some direct quotes for various smaller items that were not available to us. So the first category, and you can see the vendors that we are recommending award to in that column. So we have, you know, it's miscellaneous items, which are, you know, student chairs, beanbags, smaller items. We have medical furniture, which is everything in the nurse's suite, metal shelving and stools, all the adjustable wire shelving. Category from the CPP is where we're sourcing all the student desks and chairs, student stools, all the teacher furniture, lecterns, activity tables, cafeteria tables, ottomans, wobble stools and ottomans, I should say. Music furniture. So all of these have their own category for purchase. We can keep going through it all. So with all of that, we are at $1,149,071.07. So that's that package of our part of this process. So we have gone through over the past month or more, you know, back and forth, had a few things, you know, we worked on reducing quantity, you know, making sure this was as tight as it could be. So we have gone through that exercise of value engineering this as well, knowing that it's over the SD budget. So I think we're there with all our, well, we think we are, tell us if we are, with all of the back and forth we've had with the school and the committee. So, and then when we get into the equipment categories, so equipment, the way we garner equipment is that we ask the school to give us, you know, by department or grade or category their requests for all of the other things they need to supplement the education curriculum. So here you can see all of those categories broken out. We have gone back and had some things priced from alternate sources just to be sure we're getting best pricing. What you see highlighted in yellow are the items that we're not 100% there yet, where there are some outstanding either alternates to be clarified or some things that still need to be selected, such as the outdoor classroom furniture. So we feel this is close. It does need a little bit more vetting in those categories that are highlighted in yellow.
I think Chris has a question, if you have a minute.
Sure.
Chris, you want to jump in?
Well, a question or just a comment for the committee's
Yep.
benefit. So as these draft numbers were coming in, I mean, I think as most committee members know, we thought we'd be talking about FF&E really kind of 2 meetings ago, but had some concern about where we stood on budget. So I just want the committee to understand kind of 2 things have happened. I think the TAPE and our furnishings consultant has spent some time with the district looking hard at individual rooms, and Frank has stepped in to make some literally executive decisions on things that we can do without. But then we separately, a couple of weeks ago, had a meeting with Chris Sharkey and Mark Scott joined us, which was really helpful. And we kind of took a look at the quantity of furnishings in the classroom judged against our class size guidelines. So one of the plans that Leanne showed earlier, I think it was 3rd grade, if anybody was counting, we're showing 22 student desks and chairs. There you go. Thank you. So just want to remind the committee, our class size guideline for K through 2 is 18 to 20. And for grades 3 through 5, it's 20 to 22. There are some instances where we go beyond that, but it's periodic. And when we do have what we call a hotspot, we tend not to have them, and certainly in every class and every section in an entire building. So the consensus was to kind of come up with a layout here. And so this actually represented a reduction. So the version of this plan as recently as a couple of weeks ago, we were showing 24 seats and chairs in the upper grades. So that's a lot of seats and chairs. And we felt it was really it would be totally appropriate and still, quote, safe, if you will, to simply do a layout for the upper end of that design limit. Because if furniture, if we're high in enrollment in one area, odds are we're a little bit lower somewhere else. And as Leanne was confirming for us earlier, even if we need to move desks floor to floor, we can do that. We can just adjust the height of the legs of the desk. So I think we just wanted the committee to understand we've really been working hard to look carefully at the scope, understanding we still may be a little bit over our budget, given that we have some other areas yet to be finalized. We felt we needed to go through that and with a fine-tooth comb before we were bringing something back to the committee for a vote later this month.
Thank you. So getting back to the, so really at this point, once we're comfortable, we feel comfortable with the furniture as it is. And so the next steps for all this would be to get, the committee's approval to go forward with purchasing. When that happens, we'll prepare award notices and work with Meg to get the purchase orders issued. I will say there's definitely more of a priority to push the furniture through as soon as possible. We definitely want to do that and get the purchase orders processed this month to meet that end of June installation date. You really don't know. I mean, lead times vary. Equipment is not as long a lead time as the furniture items are. So if that needs to happen, we can entertain that for sure. But we would want to stress that we really do need to get this furniture as soon as everybody's comfortable wrapped up, for sure.
I think, as Leanne was saying, I think lead times are not guarantees, right? So we want to get this, the POs up and going as fast as we can. So I think if we could shoot for something on the 13th at the latest, like that would be that would make me feel okay.
And then we'll be all over Meg.
And I think over the next week, we're going to continue to have discussions and really get a little bit more refinement on some of these
Yeah.
highlighted.
Hopefully we
Um,
can close, we can close
yeah,
that
like
hopefully
those
by Monday
equipment,
as well. Ideally, we do. Yeah,
if we can try to do that, that would be fantastic.
right.
I think
more
Chris,
side
just
effects.
not that it would be purchased as part of the FF&E package, but can you just confirm for the committee that in some of those spaces, like particularly in the admin suite, we have some smaller spaces where even though we dropped the number of chairs, we still have a lot of chairs. So you guys are going to go back and take a look at wall protection and may come back with some
Yes.
recommendations for us, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that'll be a separate effort.
Yep.
But yes, we have that on our to-do list. But yeah, that'll be kind of something that we kind of tackle after we get this all wrapped up and out
Right.
the door.
Right.
That's a
Any other
quick
questions from the
question.
team?
Yeah, may I ask a quick question, Chris, next, and
Yeah.
I guess you mentioned Chris vetted with the district and whatnot, and just curious, I guess the different types of equipments and furniture, maybe portrayed on different classes. Were there any instances, maybe the teaching staff or somebody wanted to see the real display of the furniture before we go ahead and place the order? Just curious, were there any kind of request?
So that may be a question maybe more for Frank and Chris Sharkey than me, but I mean, I
Yeah,
will tell you.
because I know you mentioned, yeah, you had
Yeah,
several
yeah.
meetings, but just.
All I would say, Geeta, is that
Mhm.
Frank, look, Chris Sharkey has described, I think, eloquently and succinctly that there wasn't let's say, an attempt or a deliberate kind of I'll call it a sameness approach to some of the furnishings in these rooms, first, second, third floor. And that makes sense, to a degree. But given that these kids are, what a student sort of needs and how they interact with furnishings in a classroom as a fifth grader is still, substantially different than a kindergartner. So on the one hand, the sameness affords us a tremendous amount of flexibility, right? On the other hand, Frank kind of looked at some of what was in these rooms and made some decisions about things that are maybe more appropriate, like rocking chairs, and I think the kindergarten classroom, right? So there were some limited things that were deleted, and that came from administration. All we did on our side with Mark was simply go just do some counts and look at our class size guidelines, but maybe Frank or Chris Sharkey could just speak to, I think you've had several meetings where you brought in physical examples of this furniture. So teachers and staff have had an opportunity to sit on it and touch it and have hands on it. And I
Correct.
think I think they feel good about it.
Yeah, we had a sit test. Leanne and Emily can
Mhm.
talk more about that,
Yes,
but where we
we did.
bring physical samples to the Parkhurst, all the teachers came in, sat on it, touched
Okay.
it, poked it, did all the things.
Right. Yeah, we did that back in September. So all the classroom furniture, teacher furniture, they were able to see and test and sit. And we had several options. I don't know, we showed them maybe 5 task chairs and they settled on that
Yeah.
one type of thing. So we did spend some time going through. We took over a room actually for a while, and so they have seen it. Most things we brought, we actually were able to bring in. I think a lot of it actually.
I've been with the
Yeah,
committee for a
yeah.
long time. I remember high school, there was some, so based on that lesson learned, I thought I'll ask the question. All right, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No problem.
I think Frank has a question, a comment.
Yeah, no, just to reinforce the fact that we had like a lot of involvement in that process. We
We did.
provided coverage for teachers. I mean, you guys did a great job. We were just packed into this one room because you all know that Parkhurst isn't all that big, but there were multiple different options for multiple different pieces of furniture, and the staff couldn't even love what I loved the most about it was staff couldn't even believe that they were even able to have this conversation. Like they've never
Yeah.
gotten anything new. So they were super appreciative of it.
Thank you.
Jay, can I just add one last sort of footnote on this? Is that just we have, if you count the student desks and chairs in the current layout, you get 564. We've told this community that this building has a design enrollment of 540. And I think the MSBA, Andy has told me this, but I think the MSBA sees this as around a 540 design enrollment, maybe plus minus just a handful. But there are other student desks and chairs scattered in, support spaces around the building. So,
Right.
540 is what you would get if you literally had 20 students in every
I
classroom.
mean, like here, for example,
Right.
you
The breakouts, right? We didn't talk about the
Mhm.
special education spaces, right? So those
No, but they
have
do
break-
have
and
some
the
too.
and the corridor breakouts have a few. So,
No desks,
they?
no
Oh,
student desks in
no,
the
no, but
corridor
chairs,
breakouts.
no chairs.
Chairs, yeah.
Chairs.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are definitely some support spaces that have them as well.
Mhm.
So my point was just that we don't feel like we're skimping on the furniture. We've gone beyond certainly the design enrollment. And a lot of this furniture can be, moved vertically in the building if need be.
Any other questions for the team? Okay, I think we'll move on. Like I said, we'll try to meet on the 13th.
13th.
And get a vote on this equipment. This package.
Okay, thank you.
That would be great. Thanks,
All
Jay.
right. Move on to the manager's letter, Meg.
Sure. So, I don't have it handy.
I'll try
Maybe
to pull it up. Just give me a
You'll try
moment.
to pull it up. Okay,
I'm
great.
working on it.
So there are quite a few payment authorizations for the Lynch, and I can go through them. Break Builders application number 13 for $4,192,448.93. Hills invoice for $78,608.73. Tap Bay's monthly invoice for $97,509.73. Two Triumph invoices, December and January, just happened to hit the time, both for $29,850. Multa Vista is the company that we've been using to photograph behind the walls. So I have three. They've done the third. Have they done all three floors, Andy? Or
No,
Mark?
they are doing the third and the second. I think they still.
Third and second, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. The one invoice was just for getting all set up and looking at the drawings and everything. So there's three invoices there. Two for $1,874.81 and one for $2,499.75. Then we have the monthly Harbor Cloud invoice for $431.60. So those are all the invoices to be approved. For the Lynch, I have two spending authorizations. The first is change order 7 that Andy spoke about for $44,858.78. And then the next one is for a company called Connection. It's for $1,775.97. And this is, as Andrew can explain if he's on, but this is a sample Chromebook and desk that the school department wants to buy to see if it's what they want. And this would come out of the technology budget, but it's just I guess it's not free, but it's a sample for them to look at. And then down below for the high school, we did receive the proposal from SG&H to complete the engineering and bid package for the underside slab at the high school in the amount of $88,215. And this is right exactly per the estimate that they'd given to us prior to fall town meeting. So any questions? I'm not sure how we want to handle change order 7 because I know there was a couple questions.
Well, Meg,
Mark
can
has a
I just jump
question.
in real quick, Jay, so that remind people that 88,215, that comes out of the 845,000 that town meeting just authorized, fall town meeting. So that's a part of that. That's where that money's coming from. I know Mark Scott has his hand up. I had the same question about the millwork, Meg.
Should we just pull PCO 63 until someone makes a decision, and we just approve the rest of change order number 7.
Sure.
I was gonna back $5,000 out of that number, but I'm not sure it was an even 5,000, was it?
It's not an even,
$5,057.15.
Say that again, Mark?
$5,027.15.
Okay.
That's an estimator who sharpened their pencil.
Is anyone happy and want to make a motion?
So I get
based on-
just that revised number, Jay, if I back that out,
Okay,
that revised number is 39,831.63. I don't know if Meg's checking my math, that's what I get.
No, I haven't checked the math, but I know just to back out that PCO, so.
I'm happy
Yeah.
to make a motion to approve the payment authorizations to Bright Builder, our OPM, Tape Architects, Triumph, Multivista, and Harbor Cloud as presented, as well as to approve spending authorizations to Bright Builder for change order 7, less the millwork shelf and preschool for a revised amount of $39,831.63, and a second spending authorization for connection in the amount of $1,775.97. We'll do the high school later.
Okay.
you want to do we have a second on this then?
Yeah, second.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, we'll do a roll call on this. Frank?
Aye.
Lisa?
Yes.
Todd?
Aye.
Geetha?
Yes, but I guess what are we saying by taking this amount to Andy to go back to Braid and revisit the number, or that's the message I wasn't clear?
Frank's gonna have a
Frank's the school
conversation.
department. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So you're okay
Alright.
with it, Geetha?
Yes.
Okay. John? Not on, that's right. Colleen?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
And Emily?
Yes.
Okay. So Chris, you want to address the,
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve a spending authorization to Simpson, Gumpertz, and Hager for their engineering design services for the surface applied corrosion inhibitor construction document package as submitted in the amount of $88,215.
Second.
okay, so we have Chris and Geetha. Okay, Frank?
Aye.
All right, Lisa?
Yes.
Todd?
Aye.
Colleen?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
Richard?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
And Emily?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all set. Thank you.
So-
Lastly, we got our future meetings. January 13th, we're gonna pull in. If we can find a time. Oh, Richard, you have a question?
Yeah, Jay, I was just wondering if it's possible to get a copy of the presentation from tonight from the FF&E.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll send that along.
you send that along, because with, given the fact that there's gonna be a shortened period of time to make a decision on this, I'd like to just be able to have, go over the slides.
No, that's a
sure.
real good
at
point.
leisure.
Yep. Yeah, we'll send over the finish presentation along with kind of that
Right.
tally sheet. Just know that some of that equipment stuff might be in flux a little bit between now and Monday. But we should be able, we're trying to VE some of that stuff down.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Chris.
Yep. Jay, can I ask Chris Sharkey if,
Sure.
I don't think it's gonna be huge, but your last round of FF&E was Dropbox stuff. So if it's a big file, let us know. If not, we'll put it on the project drive so Rich and others can access it before the meeting on the 13th.
Yes. I believe it's small enough to be emailed, but I will get with Stefura and make sure that we're good.
Okay, next meeting on the 13th, January 27th. And then just in case, we have February 3rd, 10th, and 24th. There's just a lot going on. Power company issues, panels, all this. So we're blocking out 3 meetings for February. Might not need them, but I want to get them on the book anyways, just in case.
You said 3rd, 10th, and 24th?
3rd, 10th, and 24th, yes.
Thanks.
Get February vacation in the middle. Also, Chris Shockey, one reminder, Megan made a good point that, we're coming up close on the Parkhurst. We still need a scope written of what's going to stay, the walkway, the railings, transformer, some items like that to get a credit. So
Yep.
get that on your
Yeah.
radar that we need that written up. It's going to come before you know it.
Which is
Yeah,
great.
I'm trying to schedule a meeting for maybe like the week of the 20th with Liz Field and her team, just to get it back on their radar and start to talk about everything. So we can talk about it next Tuesday at our weekly meeting, and then yeah, we really need to start thinking about that, like what the schedule is going to be for that. Give them dates when the students will be out, etc.
Awesome.
So Jay, can I
So
ask,
Andy will have, sorry, Chris, Andy will have to coordinate like the movers, when the movers are gonna come and everything, and obviously we don't know when the last day of school is, but we do know when the last day of school could be, so like the worst case scenario.
Right.
Yep.
Jay, I was just going to ask, do we comfortably have a quorum for the 13th?
Anyone can't make it?
Like it would be a quick, ish meeting. It would basically just be focused on this one agenda item out of respect for everybody's time.
I probably can't be there, but I don't need to be there.
No.
I-
I think we're in good shape. Looks it.
Okay, great.
You just tell us what to vote, Meg.
Vote for them all. So, guess I've got to get all those purchase orders done. Just get her done.
All right. We get a notice to adjourn?
So
To
moved.
adjourn?
No more trees are coming down, I guess, in the field with the wind.
Oh, no.
No, okay. I haven't been there on the backside. Okay.
No, no more trees, and I'm,
Okay.
All right, everyone, we have a motion by Chris and second by Mark, so we'll get a roll call and move on. Frank?
Aye.
Lisa?
Yes.
Todd?
Aye.
Colleen?
Yes.
And Mark? Oh, we already have Mark. Okay. Richard?
Aye.
Don?
Yes.
And Emily?
Yes.
All right, everyone, thank you very much. I know we
Happy
went
New
over
Year,
schedule a
everyone.
little bit, but got a lot done.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Guys.
Thank you.